My name is Jeff Spolstra with Summit Mortgage, and welcome to another video edition of Mortgage Points. In this video, I'm going to talk about the namesake of this video series, Mortgage Points. What are points? And what does it mean to pay points to get a mortgage? Well, first let me take a step back and talk just a second about mortgage interest rates. I get asked all the time, what's the mortgage interest rate today? And that question is, that's like asking what is the temperature in the United States right now. It's a non-answerable question because to answer that question, you've got to know a location. Mortgage interest rates are kind of the same thing. Mortgages come in a range of interest rates, and every particular interest rate in that range has a cost associated with it, and those costs are called points. So you might pay a certain number of points for an interest rate, a certain number of points more for a lower interest rate. You can even pay less points for a higher interest rate. So it's a scale, it's a range of interest rates, and every interest rate in that range has a cost called points. Now, what specifically is a point? Well, it's easy to figure. 1 point is 1% of the loan amount, not the purchase price. 1% of the loan amount. So if you are buying a home for $1.5 million and you've got a $1 million loan and you're paying 1 point for the interest rate, well, 1 point or 1% of $1 million loan amount is $10,000. 2 points, conversely, would be $20,000. A tenth of a point would be $1,000. So that's what points are. They're percentages of the loan amount that you pay to get a particular interest rate. All right, so let's put this into real practice and look at a real example. Okay, here's the chart that I'm going to use in our video today. You can see it has a column for interest rate. It has a column for monthly payment. Now this is assuming a $1 million loan amount. So if you look at there at that top line, it says 6% interest rate on a $1 million loan would be a monthly payment, principal and interest only, $5,996. There's a column for points. That, as I mentioned, is the cost of that interest rate. What that next column is what that cost translates into real dollars. There's a payment difference that I'll come back to in a little bit, and there's also a payback amount. So this is a table we're going to work on, and I'm going to illustrate how points work with a mortgage. Looking here at the bottom of the chart, you'll see there's a 7.25% interest rate that has 0 points. This is called the par rate, or the rate that you don't have to pay any additional cost to get, because it has 0 points associated with it. And you'll notice that in this table, every other interest rate lower than that has a cost to it. So this is going to be our base rate right here, 7.25%. You can also pay for a higher interest rate if you want and get a rebate back, but that's not always advantageous. So we're only going to look at paying points in order to lower your interest rate. So we're going to use 7.25% as our basic no-cost interest rate. All right, now here's where paying points can be an advantage. If you look, let's go down one level interest rate to 7.125%, 7.125. You'll see that there's a 0.2 points charged for that. If you look at the cost column, again on a $1 million loan, that would be 0.2% of the loan amount, or $2,000. So for an additional $2,000 in your closing costs, you can lower your interest rate from 7.25 to 7 1/8. The payment difference column there says that will reduce your monthly payment by $85 compared to our 7.25 basic rate. The payback column is important because that's showing you at an $85 a month savings or reduction in mortgage payment, how long will it take to get that $2,000 cost back? And in this case, it's about 24 months. So if you did this, if you paid the 0.2 points for $2,000 to lower your interest rate and save that $85 a month, in 24 months, that savings will have paid you back the $2,000 a month that you paid to get it. Well, that kind of makes sense, right? That's 2 years. You're not likely to refinance in 2 years. And so that's a really short-term kind of an investment. You're going to get that money back pretty quick. 24 months or 2 years is pretty fast. All right, well, let's go further down the chart and see what else we can do. Going a little further down the chart, we can see that there's a 6 3/4% interest rate, 6.75, for a cost or points of 1.25, 1.25 points. Again, on a $1 million loan amount, that would equate to $12,500 of additional cost in your closing costs, but you'd be reducing your monthly payment, principal and interest, by $336 a month. Well, that's a pretty good chunk of change right there, $336 a month. Let's look at the payback. Again, taking that $12,500 a month or a cost in your closing cost for the points and dividing it by the $336 a month that you're saving, you're going to make that back within 37 months. So just a hair over 3 years. That's not bad. That's a decent short-term investment. Within 3 years, you're going to have your $12,500 back. And again, you're not likely to be refinancing within that 3 years. So that's probably a good thing, right? That's sort of in the range of what I would do personally. It's up to you if that's something that you would do, if you're comfortable with a 3-year payback, right? But anyway, you're still going to get that money back. It's just going to take a little longer. Okay, let's keep going down the chart. Okay, let's say you really, really want to have a 6.5% interest rate. That's just like would be totally what you're striving for. All right, well, 6.5% is available. It's going to cost 2.5 points, which is going to mean $25,000 additional in your closing costs for that $1 million loan amount. You're going to save $500 a month on your mortgage payment, $501. But let's look at the payback. That's a 50-month payback. That's just a little over 4 years. Is it really worth it to you? Is it worth spending $25,000 that it's going to take over 4 years for you to get back in order to get that interest rate? Is it really that important? Because that $500 a month that you're saving is just giving you back the money that you spent. It's not really an improvement in your financial cash flow, right? So this is what we look at when we look at points. What's the cost for the interest rates, and what's the payback? How long before I get that cost back? Now you see as you go further up the chart into lower interest rates, or down the chart, whichever you choose to look, you see that the payback time just keeps going up and up and up, right? You can have a 6 1/8% interest rate, but at a 76-month payback, that just doesn't really make sense at all. That's 8 years, right? Why would you do that? Or not 8 years, but you're getting into some long times here. Is it really worth spending that $57,000 up front when it's going to take you 76 months to get it back? Maybe not. Certainly not in my mind, right? But anyway, this is what points mean. Paying points in order to get a lower interest rate, as long as it makes sense to do so. So this is what it looks like, and this is how this works. All right, so let's wrap this up. Some people will come to me and they'll say, I don't want to pay points. I don't want to pay points. Don't pay points. No way. Well, maybe that's fine if that's what you want. Maybe your finances are tight and it just isn't going to work. But you know what? As we saw in that example, there's a certain level of points where it kind of makes sense, right? That it makes sense to lower your monthly payment, pay a little upfront to get it, and you're going to get it back, right? Especially if you're looking at a long-term kind of a home that you're going to be in for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, right? To get a 3-year payback on your upfront points, not a bad idea. Anyway, so that's points. And this is the kind of discussion that I have with my clients when we talk about interest rates, because we're trying to get them the best rate at the lowest cost that makes sense for them. So if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. Again, I'm Jeff Spolstra with Summit Mortgage, and this has been Mortgage Points.